Of pies, third eyes, and other really weird things that took up a lot of our, people put a lot of creativity and effort. We're trying to make a drop more serious. This is going to be in a newscast style. To do that, I need to make this sort of work. I'll use the microphone because I hate yelling. Alright, I also need a newscaster jacket. Thank you. Great job, you practiced it. Alright, so for this interactive segment, can you all see me?
Yeah. No.
Look at me, and we'll try this. Can you all see me now? Yeah. Great. Good to the camera and everything? Alright, so we're going to have a newscast style analysis on... Why this mic isn't close enough to my face? There, good. So, it's actually called Daniel and a Mic Stand. A silent comedy. My script won't be as good at this, but anyways. Okay, so, cake rights and cake's place in society. The fact is that we've been coming to this conference for many years, anywhere from, right now where we had a free Motzei Shabbat to a few years ago. When this idea started, and people at the first one were like, what, thought it would be a one-off event like many random ones around here. And the question is, we're here about cake rights. What are cake's actual rights in the world? We can joke about it, but things are actually happening out there. Cake does have a place. It can't vote like corporations can, but it does have a standing within people's minds. And so the question I'm asking here is cake rights and cake's place in society. And basically, are cakes worse off in 2014 than they ever were, or not? So, the fact is, the modern documentation of cake starts in the post-war boom of the mid-1940s. Money and the huge industrial machine gave the people of the developed world excess income to spend on many unheard-of luxuries, such as hats, and shoes, and chewing gum. Alright, no more jokes. Okay, it was a joke. People got houses, disposable income, and while it created, hippies, and so on, mostly people were able to turn into yuppies who embodied this urban middle class and bought TVs and babysitters, not bought, hired, Pilates classes. So, the thing is, one would think, with all this excess money, where cake would be in the world would actually improve, would move forward. But the answer is not so simple. Because with the extra money, time, and no threat of nuclear war, suddenly new things appeared in the world which weren't factors beforehand when people, for example, didn't have enough to eat. The first one of these is health food. To talk to us a bit about people's, cake interactions and the first effects of health food, we've got our correspondent in the field, Eva Dubinsky.
Thank you, Daniel. In 2008, Kagayan de Oro asked on Yahoo.com, I want to make a meat pie, but they don't sell lard anymore. From the recipe, it says use lard to make the pie crust. Can I use margarine or butter instead? V. Desi answered, I don't ever use margarine to cook with. It has way too much water, and it makes things soggy. Be careful using butter, because it can burn easy. So when using butter, cook about 25 degrees lower than the recipe calls for, and cook it about 5 minutes longer. If you have Crisco all-vegetable shortening available, that is the closest option. Maybe shortening made from vegetable oil. Back to you, Daniel.
And there you have it, folks, word for word from the top entry on Yahoo Answers for what do I do when I don't have lard. Yes, I possibly should have researched more. Anyway, thank you, Eva. Also, what is the length of the tie that you were wearing?
I don't know, you're the one who tied it.
Anyway, the following factors made this new health craze even more problematic. The first was packaging and preservatives. The more preservatives, the less healthy it was, hence healthy people wouldn't get them. The second one was distance, enough preservatives to make sure it could travel from the Entenmann's factory in Canada, yeah, that's where they make most of them, all over the United States and other countries, and so on, all three Canadians, hope you feel proud of something. So, the fact is that these preservatives made it, sorry heckler, I couldn't hear you. These preservatives made it much less healthy, and hence more yuppies did not buy cake. Now, the thing is, while I have all the academic resources here, and you do trust my research because I'm wearing a jacket on a stage with a microphone and an official-looking slideshow, you still have in any news report to have the word of the man on the street. So to get the word of the man on the street, we'd like to go to David Miles right now. David, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here, Daniel. Thank you.
Excellent. You've stopped someone on the street, I see.
Yeah.
Can you get some?
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to stop a few people on the street today, figure out exactly what their awareness is on cake. So we got our first man up here. How you doing? First of all,
It's a person.
I'll just wait for your audience to be quiet.
They're watching a TV at home.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of odd.
Camera.
It's 2014. It's kind of ruined everything. Mass, what are your thoughts on cake?
Cake. It's food, it's dead, it's edible.
Okay, are you aware that there's actually like a cake conference, awareness conference going on right now?
No.
No? Would that change your life? Okay, thank you very much. Okay,
All right.
we're gonna stop another person. Hopefully, get
We'll get back to you guys,
All
man
right,
on the
thank
street. Okay, fine. So
We'll be back.
thank you. Man on the street is not aware there is even a cake conference. We will deal with this, and whoever doesn't know there is one will be dealt with, possibly, permanently. The next factor we have is the generational factor. First of all, the fact is that many younger people from Generation Y or digital natives or whatever you call people born after 1980, they don't make things. They buy things. We have, plasticware and TV dinners and all these different things. So you don't actually know how to make anything. Secondly, is the generational aspect of people who don't know things and don't read books, also something many young people don't do anymore, use the internet for cooking, which means that the cakes that those people who can't cook and are just get to this whole disposable stage, what they look for are the first 5 or 10 cakes on recipes.com or whatever else you Google. Hence, very few types of cakes are available. Those are the only ones that are followed. So the amount of likes and stars that they got when the website was open is what decides what kind of cakes people know how to make, and so on. Next is the economic factors, which is, first of all, in certain places there are low incomes, which means that people can't buy all these extravagant, crazy materials that used to be available when you had your own farm back in 1640. So these people make cake out of very basic materials, again, limiting what you can make. And lastly is the issue of lower levels of education. If kids are stupider and don't know how to cook or make chemistry, then cakes they're going to get are going to be limited to Duncan Hines, Aunt Jemima, and the rest of these fictitious people who, whatever. We get the idea. Okay, and now, before we continue, we'd like to go back to the man on the street and see if anyone else has any thoughts about cake. David, do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine, thank you.
Did you get over this audience fear of these people who you don't really see?
Yeah, apparently, but it's good to know we've got at least like 2 viewers. So
That means our rating is up.
yeah. From last year was just me and you, actually, no, it's just
We
you.
shouldn't talk about that in public. Can you please stop saying that? Alright.
Yeah, we were there together. Anyhow, let's stop.
Even the Canadians are making fun of us.
I'm half Canadian, okay? So, please.
Anyhow.
We're going to stop another person. Hopefully they'll forget all my comments.
I'm just trying to listen to music.
That's all right, that's all right. No problem. First of all, Mask, what are your thoughts on cake?
It's alright.
Really?
I like it, it's good.
Okay,
You
and...
don't know?
Not yet, one more question. When it comes down to it, are you aware that there's a cake conference going on?
Oh, I love it! It's been going for like 6 years, and Rachel Webman's started it, and I read all her journals in Scientific Baker, and yeah, I'm a massive, massive fan. I just can't get enough. So,
All right, okay, there you go, you got it, Daniel. Do you have any other comments about cake?
This was unscripted.
Back to you. You got it all.
Nothing to say about cake, but lots about all of Rachel's blogs, where she lives, who she talks to. All right, that's the other man on the street. Okay, the final factors are globalization, which basically means, and this is actually the most serious note, if nothing so serious so far, which is this. The two factors that impact most in globalization are, did anyone hear about, this raise of hands, about languages that become extinct every day? Ever hear about these? There are all these different dialects that people lose. There are all sorts of different types of apples, of fruits, of vegetables just disappear because they aren't produced, they aren't liked enough, they can't be shipped to other countries. And they stay in their rural areas and disappear. And the same thing is true about cake recipes. The fact is that with the internet and with globalization, a lot of these other options disappear. We're left with fewer things and better things, and fewer people can innovate. And I would say probably hundreds of thousands of cake recipes die every year.
Whoa.
Along with dialects of French. Eat that, Quebecians. I didn't even plan that fucking the other aspects are global trends, for example, feminism. Yeah, that's my Orthodox Jewish crowd right there. So the fact is that women outside the kitchen means there's less people to produce recipes because we all know that men can't really cook, right? The fact is that take out this type of joke. It's going to be really bland, you know. Insert comments up. Fine. So the outcomes of all of this. Okay. First of all is this: excitement over bad cakes is people aren't going to try. They're not going to experiment. They're not going to innovate. Okay. And when we're living in such a world, people don't know and they won't know. People don't know how to document accidents, like of stumbling across some kind of, you know, if people stumble across a cure for cancer, they're going to share it with the world. You stumble across a good cake, and you remember how to do it, you'll probably tell your neighbors. It won't reach the internet, it won't reach the rest of us. So cakes are dying, but not being found. So thus, they are lost to history. And the question is, what's up with the future? With the current health trend, globalization, drop in education, disposable consumer culture, no documentation, forget about stretched resources and technocracy, it would seem the future of cake would seem very bleak, right? No. I've been feeding it to you. All the facts point to yes. Okay. So, what? You'll cry, I can't. So the questions are, what can we do now? And because I have a time limit, we're going to keep this within the next 4 minutes. First of all, we can accept and give up. The meat industry is going downhill because why are we making animals suffer? And we're making right now cloned, I don't know, mushrooms or whatever those things are. So the fact is that cake doesn't harm animals, but at the same time, if meat's going to go, cake can go too. We can live with that. Is that acceptable? No. We'll try again. Another one. Get used to happier and cheaper diets. Woo! No. All right. Appreciate the human ability to forget and romanticize. Yeah! Like the good old days. We'll talk about the good old days without actually having cake. Remember, it was a nice... Yeah, we like that? No. All right, then here. The last option, given to me by David Miles, if you don't like it, take it up with him, is keep on doing those symbolic, minimal actions. For example, we'll recycle 3 bottles, but we won't actually go out and protest against factories because we feel better about that small thing. You know, does that work? Yeah. Like, and then they can dump it. Yes. Yeah. Okay. No. So to sum up, look around, look left, look right, look at the cakes purchased here. Look at all these first-timers this conference. I could ask you, what do we take from this? Cake. Do we exchange recipes? Do we ever wonder where these came from? The answer, I would say, is probably not. And this is how we lose a dialect, and this is how we lose tradition. In fact, I would argue, potentially, if I was that type, you guys don't give cake any thought throughout the year. I would argue that this conference is as semi-serious as cake is for you guys a sometimes food. I would. I could say that if not for this conference, caking would be something you'd bake sometimes, eat sometimes, and that would be it. But the fact is, who am I kidding? We're all die-hard cakeists. We take this very seriously. We eat, sleep, and breathe cake. And, I mean, obviously, no one here does take this seriously. And that's why I'd like to say that I know the cake will be okay, because I'm sure that every one of you will go out and lobby for cake, and harass your friends about cake, and go to jail for violating various laws for the sake of cake. Because even as recipes disappear, variety drops, and we all switch to detox and fiber-one diets, I know the future of cake is safe in the same place where we know most things, in our guts.
One question.
Yeah. Please don't be Canadian.
Only by marriage.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. So, I hear what you're saying about cake disappearing, but I think, like, if you've been on Pinterest or Instagram in the last 10 minutes, you would see that none of that is actually true. Like, you can find 45,000, that's the real number, 45,000 different recipes and pictures of people eating cake, people baking cake, people with cats with cake. Go into it. So what are you really worried about?
Okay, I would like to answer this in the name of all males here and in the world. What's a Pinterest? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Another question?
Thank you, Daniel. And Eva, thank you very much. And Miles. Our next speaker is Jeremy Mansalton. Who political cake.
I think it's like on the internet. Very formal.
We all have a placement at the podium? Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, Mike, sound would be better. Actually, can you raise that? Something like that.
Yeah, you gotta bend down for that one.
That's your thing.
Lefty goes you anything.
I think it's supposed to be this way.
We're not talking.
Ladies, gentlemen, fellow cake lovers, it's an honor to be with you guys here today. My name is Jeremy Mansalton. You know, I want to go ahead and thank the foundation, of course, Rachel, the chairperson. I think it's also important to thank the Webman family, who have many years of support of cake. So they should also get a big round. My topic is political cake. As you guys know, cake has become very political, very much in the news lately. And I'm going to try to also leave some time at the end for questions and answers.
Cake, cake, cake! Cake, cake, cake! Cake, cake, cake! Pie is no place in this conference. It never will, because it's not cake.
Thank you. Thank you. As you see, people are very passionate about cake. The awareness over the last year has definitely increased. Also, acts of cake extremism has increased.
Desperation!
Of course, I do share their views in terms of pie, but I in no way support the actions of these small groups who decide to take it upon themselves to do deliberate acts against pie activism. I'm just sorry, like, I agree with you guys in some things, but into a certain limit. Now, I think one of the big things that happened over this year that can really try to explain why it is that there's been such an increase in cake awareness is the legitimacy that we've received. And, you know, again, to this, I look at Rachel and say, you have my utmost support. Really, last year, having this conference in the Jerusalem Post, having the chief editor, Steve Lindy, opening things up, that really gave us the legitimacy of the mainstream media, which was so necessary for our cause. cause. Thank you. There are those in the international community who want to see us divide cake. They want to see us cut it up into pieces. In fact, they want us to give pieces of cake to other people. Ladies and gentlemen, as a member of the Knesset Cake Lobby for 3 years, as the recently elected chairman of this lobby, I would like to make this very clear to the international community. Our cake will remain whole. And if the cake is to be divided, if it is to be cut in pieces, it will be for our own consumption. Make no mistake, when it comes to these issues, we are strong, and we will not give our cake to other people. Because when it tastes that good, well, as I like to say, cake has a very special place by my heart, and that's my stomach. We talked about a lot of things over this conference. Among them, we talked about those who apparently are not cake purists. They choose to try to, they talk about cooperation, they talk about how we need to include the other person, they talk about pie. They talk about, it's terrible, guys. This year we even seen that there's a new splinter group talking about cookies. No, this stuff is unacceptable. I think we've said time and time again, and I think the polls that we saw here said very clearly, this is a conference for cake. You know, I will say I did my own internal polling, and if you take the most popular pie, blueberry, and you include that, then 80% of people say no to the rest of pies. So, I do suggest an amendment. What, sir?
Whoa.
I missed it. Sometimes hecklers say stuff, I don't know. But I'll tell you something. If you are willing to have an amendment to include for trial basis blueberry pie, I see that we'll have a majority of people in favor. Now, another thing about cookies, I see that I'm not giving in. I reject that. You can save that for the Q&A. I have very good reasons of why I'm saying that. Most of that has nothing to do with my morals and values, but it does have a lot to do with polling numbers, which is very important to me. And if we're talking about polling numbers in my re-election, I am very upset to see that the cookie lobby sent someone here tonight. It is no secret that the cookie lobby did fund my opponent. And I can't say that I'm very happy to see elements within this establishment, considering my years of commitment to the foundation, that allow such a thing to transpire. But I'm very sure that at the end of tonight, when we go to the ballot box, we will be saying very clearly no to pie. And considering Cookie did not even make the ballot, sir. I'm not very worried about that either. We talked about the cake within all of us. One of the speeches is talking about cake 1 and cake 2. I'd like to say that I have embraced both cakes in front of me. And really, they've become part of me, and I love cake 1 as much as I love cake 2. And I hope that all of you can feel the same. There were the donations aspect tonight. I was looking by the jar. I really suggest that you guys take my lead. Instead of 8 shekels, be large. Donate 10 shekels. This is a very, very important institution. It's important that it continues to get our support. And in order to increase cake consumption over the next year, it's very important that we have these donations. weapons and cake. I feel this always comes up every year. I don't know why. You know, listen, 2 years, 3 years ago also, listen, no, I'm not going to go into every single speech we've had in previous years, but this theme of Iran and cake. I see the catapult being aimed at me, but you cannot silence me. You cannot silence me. I will tell you that when it comes to cake, I feel it's about love, it's not about war. So if you want to use cake as a weapon, by all means. As for Cake Technologies, allegations that Cake Technologies have been funding my re-election bid are untrue. I don't know where that came from. I suggest that you guys read reliable news sources. If it's not in the Jerusalem Post, it didn't happen. Thank you, Jerusalem Post, for contributing to my re-election. Another thing I will say about Cake Technologies, I definitely I enjoyed the idea of your new product of that phone. It's just I have this problem with your touch screen. Considering I don't use utensils when I eat cake, it was a little messy. So I'm very happy to help you guys out. And when you want to come out with 2.0, I'd be very happy to be part of that trial run. So please keep me in mind. All right, I see we're getting towards the end, so I'm gonna, before I get to my questions, I just want to say a few strong statements. People were talking about cake, they were not strong enough. You always save the strong ones for the end. People were talking before me about cake rights. The only right a cake has is to be in my stomach. And I know that this is something that you guys share because my internal polls show that 90% of you agree with me. And for those of you who feel that cake belongs elsewhere, such as on the floor, I know that you are secret pie activists. And listen, I have a very clear record of cake activism, and I can spot these people a mile away. And one thing that I will say that we heard a lot from our predecessor, I'm actually pro-Canadian because Canadians have a 98% cake support level.
Yeah!
So I just want you guys to know that. Cake, unlike what my predecessor said, is not going through any problems. Cake, my friends, is the future. The future is cake. You know, it says here that people are saying that cake is a problem. I want to tell you, cake is not the problem. Cake is the solution. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'll now open it up for questioning. In the back, yes.
Many polling results nowadays show all the results in a graphic, commonly referred to as a pie chart. How are you looking to bring cake charts into the polling
Thank you for bringing that up. If you look at my record, you'll see that I've been consistently against pie charts. I've been for graphs, and I'm going to continue to have that position in my next term. Yes.
I put it to you, sir, that the whole cake pie conflict has been manufactured by health food companies in order to bring both sides down on their knees. And I think that you are cooperating with people to destroy our way of life.
I've had a lot of things said to me in my life, but suggesting in any way that I have anything to do with leftists or health food industries is quite ludicrous. In fact, if you look at my size, I think that really proves that definitely is not a conscious thing. And I will also mention that if you look at my list of contributors, they're all very known pro-cake activists. So I object to these allegations. And in fact, I would say to you, this is the exact type of thing that people are trying to do to us. They are trying to delegitimize us by taking the problem elsewhere, by saying the problem is all desserts. And you know what? Pie is not a dessert. It is not a dessert. It is not a dessert. I've seen it presented in Israeli breakfasts. I'm sorry, but if you're good enough for breakfast, you're not good enough for dessert. Yes. Time for 2 more questions, I just heard. 2 more questions.
This
Yes.
is the cake that you brought.
Indeed.
Okay, how dare you bring yellow cake when we're trying to put sanctions on Iran? Are you not undermining that effort by bringing yellow cake?
What are they, Chinese?
If you'll notice, that is fake yellow cake. If you did not notice it, you did not taste it.
Yeah, I admit it.
Okay, well, those people who did taste my cake will admit that it is fake yellow. In fact, I've had quite a few complaints about the cake that I brought tonight. As opposed to previous years where I received quite a few compliments. You want to try? Let's talk about eating your own cake, yes.
All right, firstly, hi, I'm Daniel from the David Miles fan club. That was an inspiring speech. Thank you very much for
Yeah, well, I know David is, thank you. David is half Canadian and he's also a contributor. So that's why I'm pro-Canadian. Yes.
As a political expert on this field, the question to you is, do you believe that the Cake is the most misunderstood political activist group out there?
Mr. Gindis, this is something that I also addressed at the beginning of my speech. Although I might agree with certain aspects of what certain extremist groups have to say, I deplore their methodology. I do not think they're misunderstood. I think they take things too far. I do not think we have to go that far. In fact, what I think should be done, and this is part of a program that I initiated last year, is to send cake to anti-cake activists. And in cases where they do not want to eat it, to stuff it in their faces. Yes.
We really just don't have any more time.
Unfortunately, the forces that are pro-pie are throwing me off the stage. So as I leave, I would like you guys to chant with me. Cake! 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 Cake!
Thank you, Jeremy. Just let these guys do their thing.
I'm offended as a Jew. Forget a cake person. And he's white.
Welcome to the weekly meeting of the Cake. Good to see so many friendly faces here. And when our cause is alive and strong, I hear that we now have activists protesting at political events all over the place. It's a wonderful thing. A few other announcements before we begin. First off, we want to congratulate our members Bobby Lee and Mary Beth Lee for the birth of their new daughter, Sarah Lee. We hope to see her joining us here soon, just as soon as the toothpick comes out clean. And we can all feel very good about it. And we can all feel very good about a very successful fundraiser on Sunday. As the good book says, preheat to 350 degrees and mix ingredients. Yeah. We're all looking forward to our annual fork burning in front of the ice cream parlor on Monday, there will be a carpool, so don't forget to sign up. But on a sadder note, please give a moment of silence in memory of our sister brotherhood in Baltimore, who gave their lives last Wednesday in a failed attempt to purge the world of another candy shop. But from this tragedy, we can learn two important lessons. First, you cannot blow up your cake and eat it too. And second, always label your cakes. Now, this is a special occasion, because today we have a new follower of our cause to swear in. Will you all give her a round of applause? Will you place your right hand on the Holy Cookbook? Express your level of agreement with the following statement. The Cake Awareness Foundation should be a big tent and welcome all sorts of things that people include with cakes, such as pies, eclairs, torts, muffins, and elaborate donuts.
Oh, hell no!
I can't hear you!
Hell no!
Warms my heart at 300 degrees for 45 minutes. As you all know, we are living in a most grievous time for the purity of desserts. We have a new muffin shop opening on our streets. We have froyo stands by our schoolhouses. I hear there is now a thing called a cronut, and I do not know what it is, but I do not approve it. Is this what we have in our heads when we pray for a buttery world? When we pray to the baker and the oven and the holy toast? They say we're not PC. Well, damn right I'm not PC. I am not a pie crust. Are you a pie crust? The values of these PC police are infecting our homes, our kitchens, and even our sacred baths. The health fad was bad enough when it was just a bunch of assorted nuts in their own pantries. But now we can't even make a good old-fashioned chocolate cake with vanilla frosting anymore. Oh no, now it's carrot cake. Banana cake, even cake with zucchini. We should not, we will not, we cannot stand for this perversion of all that is delicious. We are not liberals like those fruitcakes. Chocolate used to be a flavor. Now it's a dessert. We used to have icing. Now it's all ice cream. It was all right when it was on the side of cake, when it knew its place. But now it is not just trying to replace dessert. It is not trying to replace the cake, the rightful dessert, but it is trying to be cake. It is contaminating the name of cake by being ice cream cake.
Woo! Yeah!
I mean, sure. It is nice in the summer, nice and cool and sweet. And it is suitable for children's birthday parties, so playful. And you cannot compare mint frosting to mint chocolate chip ice cream. One is, it has the texture of toothpaste, and the other is minty freshness. my point is, I have been tempted. But I have repented. First it was birthdays. What's next? Ice cream wedding cakes? I mean, sure. That might be the novelty that lets your wedding stand out from all the others. It'd be pretty tasty. But it is not dry. It does not taste like cardboard. How is that a wedding cake? Every person in this room knows the truth. That every cake is a superior dessert. From the lowliest cupcake to the mightiest layer cake. From devil's food to angel's food. The black forest, red velvet.
The store-bought Osu cake!
Osu, that is a cake. and all cakes are superior. Let's conclude. Let us conclude with the ceremonial destroying of the croissants. Bring in the croissants! Oh, is that butter? Oh, it seems fresh. I bet it melts on the tip of the tongue. The destroying of the croissant.
Do it!
I bet it'll be nice to jam. Just a little nibble first. You know.
Thank you. That was disturbing. Oh, apparently we had a question. Tough luck, but there's no time for questions.
One question, it's a good one.
Yes.
All right.
What's that between your teeth?
It's cake.
Yeah,
You got me. You are a disbeliever. Burn it.
Okay, Honorable Speaker, thank you so much for coming. You're an inspiration to the cause. I have a question. Do your white outfits with the white masks and that, do they get confused with other organizations who wear white? For example, the Dentist Union.
I think you're a bit confused because our message has not spread quite so far due to certain technical problems. We will be the most famous racist group. Dentists are certainly unpleasant, but they're nothing compared to what's coming.
Okay. I'm really trying to decide what to do about that break. Get it?
Go. No more breaks.
All right, no more breaks for the rest of the evening.
Cakes, not breaks.
Anyone who needs to use a bathroom, feel free to just step out quietly in the middle. We will not stare at you.
We still got
We're not watching you.
Gonna go ahead. I am now going to be speaking. On the subject of cake accessibility, followed by a pie tide in the cake of Israel.
High tide.
Thank God. So accessibility. There are a lot of organizations out there that are advocating for accessibility for various groups. And these are very important causes. And I think that it really needs to be extended to the cake community because there are so many people out there who just can't get to cake. Cake is somehow just beyond their reach. And there are a lot of factors that go into this. There are a lot of reasons that people are unavailable, our cakes are unavailable to these people. Sometimes height is a problem. If you are, say, this big, of whatever age, we're not discriminating here. And the cake is, say, up here. It's really hard to reach. And some people deliberately, in fact, put the cake on a higher shelf so as to deny particularly short people the ability to reach those cakes. And height is not the only problem. Sometimes cake is just too far away. There is a shocking dearth of cake delivery services. They do exist. They do exist. I'm not knocking the ones that do, and we want to give them high praise. I believe there was one called Fly a Cake. I don't know if they're still around actually, but they were around a little while ago, and they would bring you had to order it, but they would bring you a cake if you were far away from that cake. But unfortunately, those kinds of groups are few and far between. Excuse me. And some of us may want certain types of cake that are unavailable in our countries of residence. Carvel ice cream cakes. Those aren't here, are they?
That's why Bracha didn't come.
You know, there are certain types of cakes that one just can't get everywhere, and that restricts accessibility to those who are limited in their ability to reach those cakes. Other issues are connected to diet. You know, the gluten-free cake industry is booming, but it's not booming fast enough. I mean, there are so many people out there who cannot eat cake because of gluten allergies, or gluten intolerances, or gluten dislikes, or gluten sensitivities, or other types of gluten aversions. And there are people who cannot have sugar. Where are the sugar-free cakes? There are people who cannot have dairy. I was told that a large percentage of the cakes at this event were dairy cakes, which is wonderful. It is wonderful. There were some outstanding par of contributions. But for those, pardon? There was not a single meaty cake. I actually haven't corroborated this personally. I'm taking that person's word for it in the back. But if you have a lactose intolerance, this is a serious restriction. And if you have a soy allergy and a cake has soy in it, all those little lists of ingredients that say may contain traces of soy, may contain traces of nuts, may contain traces of eggs, may contain traces of idiots. Those I'm allergic to, personally. These are very big problems when people are restricted in their ability to consume cake. And so we have to find solutions. I don't have any. Except to suggest that we make sure and label our cakes, that we encourage people to provide cake on wheels, so that one who is far away from it can be brought closer to it faster. Cake on wings someday. Cake on hoverboards.
Yeah.
And for those who are short, kitchen chairs stacked high enough. Just a hint, just a little hint there. You know, ladders, and wheedling. Wheedling helps with the tall people. How does one wheedle? Does anyone here know how to wheedle?
Please, just once. Please.
That was pretty good wheedling. I've seen better, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad wheedling. But yeah, but wheedling is more like, you know, sucking up. It's more like
you're so tall you can reach that cake and bring it down for me.
Thank you. Thank you. That was excellent. And these are strategies. We need to teach these kinds of strategies